So one of the biggest stories that's actually happening in the UK right now as we speak is that over 1,000 children as young as 11 were drugged, beaten and something or other over 40 years. Now the reason why I don't want to say some of those particular words in this article, guys, is because of the fact that I'm going to be fighting censorship already on this, and this story does need to get out. So please smash that share button, really post it on Facebook, Twitter. We need to get this word out. And already I'm going to be fighting censorship, let alone covering this topic. So try and help the word get out there. A brutal sex gang, something or other as many as 1,000 young girls over 40 years in what may be Britain's worst ever child abuse scandal. Girls in the town of Telford, Suffolkshire, were drugged, beaten and something or other at the hands of grooming gangs active since the 1980s. Now remember, diversity is our strength. Allegations are said to have been mishandled by authorities, shocking horror there, with many perpetrators going unpunished. While it is claimed similar abuse continues in the area, reports the Sunday Mirror. Home Office figures show there were 15.1 child sex crimes reported per 10,000 residents in the year to September 2015. So they're not even, that's insane, that really is. Telford's population is 155,000, meaning 225 potential victims. Telford's Conservative MP Lucy Allen has previously called for a Rotham-style inquiry into the allegations and has called the latest report extremely serious and shocking. There must be now an independent inquiry into the children's sexual exploitation in Telford so that our community can have absolute confidence in authorities, she told the paper. A mother and 4 teenage girls have been linked to the allegations of abuse. Lucy Lowe, 16, died alongside her mother and sister after the man who had been abusing her, 26-year-old Azia Al-Muhammad, guess the nationality, set fire to their house. The taxi driver first targeted Lucy in 1997. She gave birth to his children when she was just 14 years old. This is making me sick to my stomach, it really is. Mohammed was jailed after murdering Lucy, her mother Elaine and her sister Sarah, 17. However, he was never arrested or charged with any sexual abuse crimes over his involvement with the young girl. I wonder why. Another victim who was drugged and gang raped by 9 men 2 years later said that Lucy's death was used as a warning to other girls who might speak out. The schoolgirl, who remains anonymous, said that she was driven to try to kill herself. I was scared my family would die like Lucy's. I thought I'd be only safe if I killed myself, she told the Sunday Mirror. In 2002, another schoolgirl was killed in an unexplained car accident in Telford. Can we just take a guess at the nationalities of these guys? Just saying, that there's no problem with grooming gangs in the UK, right? Right enforcement? Right law authorities? There's no problem whatsoever. Yet it seems that we keep getting reports of this situation happening in the UK. But remember, diversity is our strength. Remember, we've all got to be tolerant. And remember that you can't speak out against this certain thing because, God forbid, you might offend some rationality or some religion. I wonder who they're talking about. This is insane. This is really insane that the UK has gone this far, that this sort of behaviour is swept under the rug. Where is the riots? Where is the protests? What do you need, Tommy, to organise it for you guys? Take to the streets and do something. Reclaim your cities while you still have them. Becky Watson, 13, was killed after a car she was in crashed. At the time of the accident, it was reported as a prank. Who was the driver? However, it was revealed that she had suffered 2 years of sexual abuse at the hands of a grooming gang, which began when she was 11 years old. In tragic diary entries, she told how she was forced to sleep around. Her mother, Torrin Wilson, went to the police on a number of occasions and even handed them a list of suspects. To the point where you actually have to do the police officer's work and they still do nothing about it. But nothing was done. Imagine my shock. She said, girls like Becky were treated like criminals. Don't speak out, you might offend someone. I was crying out for help, but it felt like I had nowhere to turn. Because you don't. Because the government does not care. They have sold out to the friggin' globalists. If Becky's abuse had been properly investigated by the authorities, more girls could have been saved from going through this hell. Vicky Round, a friend of Becky's, was abused by the same gang. They found her in crack cocaine addiction aged 12. These girls have been that abused that they're treating or they're going to crack cocaine to escape it. Wow. Wow. By 14, she was taking heroin regularly. Great, terrific. Thank you, law enforcement. You now have another cocaine/heroin addiction case because your inability to do anything. Because you don't want to offend anybody. Because you don't want to upset the cohesion. It's my previous story that went up right before this was talking about how Brittany Pettibone and Martin Sidnell were arrested because they didn't want to upset social cohesion. This is the social cohesion they do not want to upset. She died 20 years after a suspected drug overdose. In Rotherham, around 1,400 girls, many of them underage, were sexually abused over a 16-year period at the hands of men from town's Pakistani community. Diversity is our strength. An estimate of a number of victims in Telford were circulated with the help of Professor Liz Kelly from Child and Women Abuse Studies Unit at London Metropolitan University, who reviewed the Mirror's figures. Dinio Novaki, I might be mispronouncing, a specialist child abuse solicitor, said these children were treated as sexual commodities by men who inflict desperate acts of abuse. The survivors deserve an inquiry. They need to know how the abuse took place for so long and why so many perpetrators have never been brought to justice. People need to start voting for populists. They need to start voting for right-wing parties. It hates me to say that. Don't go full right. I'm not saying that. But you need to leave the left. Left-wing politics is allowing this to happen. Progressives, people like the Young Turks, who sit there and they will criticize the conservatives, but they will not run stories like this. I wonder why. Several men were jailed in 2013 following Operation Chalice, a police inquiry into child prostitution in the Telford area. Makib Ali, I guess the nationality, 34, sold teenager girls, some as young as 13, for sex above an Indian restaurant in Telford, Saturday after grooming them. No wonder they banned firearms, I tell you. His brother Ali Azid, guess the nationality, 27, was handed a 26-year sentence after their pair sexually abused, trafficked, prostituted, or tried to prostitute four teenage girls. Just execute them. Just lethal injection, terminate them. Because there's no way these guys are ever going to be reformed. Just put a bullet in their head or something. The paper says authorities were warned of the abuse decades before Operation Chalice, and yet they didn't do anything. Funny that, isn't it? One victim who was targeted by pedophiles and forced to sleep with dozens of men said the police had betrayed the children of this town for a second time. I dread to think how many victims have been over the years. I wouldn't be surprised if the offending was on the same scale as Rotherham, which conveniently was also another area that was covered up by the authorities. It has been ongoing for at least 2 decades. When will this stop? When you vote out the progressives, when you vote out Tories, and you start voting in people like Tommy Robertson, for example. When is the UK politics? When is the next election in the UK? Because I don't know if you even have that long before something just snaps. West Marissa police have admitted errors were made in the way the detailing reports had from street pastors on the night patrol had been handled by police. You don't say errors were made. Really, you don't say. I'd say that's the very understatement of the century. Some of the street pastors had witnessed teenagers being sold drugs at underage parties and gangs of men grooming intoxicated children. Moving on. It's been going on for at least 2 decades. When will it stop? It won't stop until you vote out these guys. It really won't. A spokesperson for Telford and Wrecking Council told the paper, child sexual exploitation, CSE, is a vile, evil crime. It's an issue right across the UK and has been for a long time. It comes from the top, people. When you've got UK governments that literally cluck to certain racial or religious groups, not mentioning names, Telford will be covered by the National CSE Review. We welcome this. All agencies continue to work very closely together, and this remains our top priority. You mean now that it's in the mainstream media, now it's a top priority. That's what you mean, right? Police said 100 girls could have been victims in Telford between 2007 and 2009. That's 100 in 2 years. That 50 people a year were victims of this. It's like 1 every 3 or 4 days. Sub-Top Harding of West Marissa Police said communication had improved dramatically in recent years. I don't think communication was your problem, mate, to be honest. He added, incidents identified by pastors point to potential signs of children's sexual exploitation and will use this intelligence to target individuals who may be needing investigating. Okay. Look, guys, obviously, you know what I think about this. I've been pretty vocal throughout the whole article already, which will probably get me banned off YouTube. But at the end of the day, look, yeah, am I surprised? No. Did I expect something like this? Yes, sadly, I do. After Rothingham, we know what literally is going to be happening. This is going to continue until you do, like, you vote in people like Tommy Robertson or someone who wants to go through and end mass migration or end migration into the UK. This is going to be your reality. It is up to you to vote out the people that you do not want. Okay? I know people sit there and go, what can I do? I'm only one person. You're one person who can share this article. You're one person who can share this video. You're one person who gets a vote every so many years. Use it. If enough people go through and make a choice and say this is enough is enough, then change will happen. Look at Italy, for example. But it's up to you guys. Do you want this continuing? Do you want this as a part of your reality? Or do you want to go back to the UK that it was 30 years ago when this stuff wasn't this? When mass migration or migration wasn't a major problem. Now, I'm not saying all migrants are going to do this, obviously. But when you have a certain amount of migrants from a certain region who seem to act in a certain particular way, you really must wonder about the rest of the people that have come from that situation or have come from that environment. It really must make you wonder what the average person in Pakistan actually believes when a certain persuasion of them are literally like this. This is the 2nd or 3rd time there have been mass covers up by the government where hundreds, if not 1,000 children have been affected. Remember Rothingham. Now we have Telford. We have Rothingham and Telford. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack a like. Please, for the love of God, share this video because it's the only way this story will get out. Credit to the Daily Mail for covering it, but I imagine now BBC sure as shit won't. Or they will wait until the pressure is so big on them that they will cover it. But apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video.